Hello and welcome, Algebra 1 students. We're continuing on in the book with 1.5 and 1.6 today. So we're going to review how to solve the problem, and we're also going to review the concepts of functions. So this first video should be just 1.5. Now 1.5 we will go a little bit quicker. I'll just discuss with you guys the key problem solving plan. And do you need to memorize this? No, okay? But you do need to come up with a approach to solving problems. So in math, it's not so much that you know how to solve every problem, but rather that you know approaches that consistently can produce accurate and measurable results, okay? So they give you the first step is to read and understand. I think this is a key point, right? You need to read first, okay? You should read and understand what it's talking about. So that's why in the read and understand thing, I think what you should put is be able to understand uh, what the question gives you, its givens, what it is. I like to think it's givens, the variables, the equations, and then I like to think of what the question is. What are you finding? So maybe what are you solving for? So now this would be nice if there was an I there. I don't know what I would be, but you know. So this is our givens, variables, equations, for, and then what are you solving for? Okay. And that will let you know when you need to make a plan. So, plan. Okay, now this is crucial because actually making a plan is more about the approach you're going to take. So, for example, if I see exponents like x squared, my brain instantly comes up with possible ways of solving this problem. Now, does that mean each way is going to work? No. So sometimes I give you guys a tool to solve a problem that doesn't work for every problem. You just have to trust that it works for some, but not all, okay? Now, are there ones that work for all? No, because each question asks different things. So that it is sad that math doesn't have a one thing that you can do every time and it will always work, but that's the way it is. Solve the problem. So if you're needing to guess a check, you just plug in numbers and eventually you'll find it and you solve, okay? Now the last part, so after you make a plan, you're gonna try to solve, okay? You're gonna try to solve and then you need to check this, okay? So last thing we do is we check. Now why did I split this in two? Because I actually think that this read and understand is so important that you actually should put it by itself. It should be done it should take not the most time, but make sure you take the most careful time. That you do it enough that you can see what they're asking for. And you check your solution. So for example, if I said, you know, there were 20 students and each student got a cupcake and a juice box. And in my solution, it said that it cost $5,000. Okay, well, if there's only 20 students and each one got one cupcake and one juice box, that $5,000 doesn't make sense. So you have to check your answer. I think sometimes your answer is answering the wrong question. That's why we want to know what we're solving for, okay? Okay, so always be willing to check your answer. I know some of you are more impatient. Just take time to be impatient. Be patient. Okay, so if we're looking at this question, yeah, we'll go through this question. We might go through two. Okay, you run in a city in short blocks on the north-south street. Okay, north-south streets are 0.1 mile long. The long blocks east-west are 0.15 miles long. You want to run 2 long blocks east and a number of short blocks south. 2 long blocks west and a number, then back to short. So you're making a square basically, rectangle. You want to run 2 miles, okay? So 2 blocks east, how much does that give you? Well, that's 0.15, 0.15. Now we know we're also doing the same west, so that's 0.15, 0.15. But we don't know how many of these. We have a question on how many 0.1s and how many 0.1s. Okay? So let's add up these two. So we get how many right here? This is our givens. So this is 0.3, this is 0.3, so that's 0.6. So that gives us how much miles east and west. So the rest has to be north and south. Okay, so this is east and west, north and south. Okay, south, north. Okay, so we're going to subtract this. Sorry, still giving you givens. So I'll actually give you the equation. So our variable, let's call it actually doesn't matter what variable. We'll call it 0.1 times, and we'll call it n. Okay, plus technically 0.6 equals 2. Okay, so this n is actually both north and south. Okay, so then solving this is pretty simple. We just subtract and then divide, and we get our n. Okay, so we subtract 0.6. We get 0.1 n equals 1.4. Divide by 0.1. 0.1. We get n equals 14. Now that's both north and south. It says how many short blocks should you run? It's total. And the answer would be 14. So we would run 14, but you want to label it properly, so 14 blocks. Now maybe they write short blocks. Let's just double check. So we make our plan. Sorry, I'm skipping through this. Okay, yeah, so they put S. It doesn't actually matter. And they multiply it. Oh, they're doing guess and check. Well, guess and check is an inefficient way of doing it. So, you know, I did my problem solving one. So 14 blocks. You should run 14 short blocks. Yes. Okay. They show us that you could do it as as increments, so short blocks 0 to 4, 6, so on, so on, so on, to 14. You don't have to make a table. Yes, sir. Okay, so formulas. Before we finish up this video, here's some key formulas. By the way, you notice that I drew something? Drawing is never a bad thing, okay? Now, some of you are doodlers. Granted, on Delta Math, you can't doodle. So, on your own piece of paper, you're allowed to doodle. Okay. Celsius equals 5/9 of Fahrenheit minus 32 degrees. So, what is then Fahrenheit in terms of Celsius? So, what does Fahrenheit equal? Well, first, we work from the outside. So we get this and we divide it out. So then it equals 9/5 Celsius, and then we're gonna have Fahrenheit plus this. So first we divide by 5/9, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Then we're gonna add by 32. The next step is add by 32. So if you are an American or Asian or some other country, and you have to deal with the difference between two countries, Fahrenheit and Celsius, this works this way, okay? Here's our formula. Celsius is this, Fahrenheit's this, okay? And then Kelvin is just K-E-V-I-N. It's just Celsius minus 273. Okay. Or plus 273. Okay, simple interest. We won't really deal with this, but I equals PRT. A simple interest. Distance equals rate times time. Okay, should know that one. You don't need to know pi. Okay. Kind of need to know this one and this one. Okay, that's it for this video. Sorry, I went a little bit long. I was distracted by the formulas. Okay, we will talk next about 1.6.